My days as an adventurer were not always as exciting as they were before. Before, it was depressing and sad. I was just a kid when my parents vanished without a trace. Just left me there on the side, in the middle of the Sharpie Mountains. I laid there in a basket. That's really what I remember, as a simple baby. Last thing I remember, until the blessing, I would call that one day. I suddenly felt the basket being grabbed, and like any baby child, I fell asleep. Then I woke up to a beam of light coming from a window, and I looked around to see two things. A Japanese thought room and a man, which I later found out was the Grand Master of Magical Auras. I didn't know at the time, so I just went with it. I was very talented in enchanting and blacksmithing when I was younger, and I still am. I train with the man constantly, 24/7, in weapon combat, magical aura combat, and both variants mixed together. And then when I turned 7, the man finally revealed himself to be the Grandmaster of Magical Auras. I was shocked, but not at the same time. But from then on, he told me that he wouldn't be going easy on me. And so from then on, after training, I would have nice purple spots and cuts. That's how rough the training was every day. But then when I turned 10, I finally went to school. I was real quiet and I wanted to be left alone. And most kids respected that. Most kids left me alone, except for one kid. My good friend Lyle. He was like every other kid with powers, but he was the only student to have ice elemental powers. Meanwhile, I was training with fire and water. As a rare kid with double elements at birth. But Lyle was like me, but with a rare element. Certain kids would bully both me and Lyle, thinking if they defeated us, they would be more powerful. And well, that didn't really go so well for the bullies. Lyle would use his ice abilities, and if they bullied Lyle, I would use my abilities. And one thing's for certain, they were scared of us. When me and Lyle graduate, we spent most days during the summer going to the park and training day after day until we mastered our elemental auras. Until that one day, I lost him. It was a normal day. We had just finished training, and it was starting to rain. We tried to agree on somewhere to go, and I suggested to go to my house, and Lyle and I agreed. When we got there, though, I saw a thing that'll never leave my mind ever again. A Grandmaster on the floor, and 5 people coming out with cursed katanas with blood on them. Me and Lyle tried to run, but they were too fast. We tried to fight with our abilities, pushing our limits. I got knocked out for 1 minute. And when I woke up, and when I look up, I saw the memory that cursed me forever. I saw Lyle on the floor, the katana stabbed into his chest, while the 5 men ran away. I rushed over to him, feeling pain with every step. I tried and tried to patch up his wounds, but the wounds were too critical to tend to his body. His body was... but it was fading away slowly. That's what I really remember. I cried to Lyle, saying, "Don't leave me." He just looked at me. Even though his voice was fading away, I heard the last words, "I will never leave you." And his body faded away. But something suddenly happened. Even though Lyle's body faded away, I suddenly saw a life soul. Then it went into my left eye, and like magic, I was able to control ice powers, and I immediately knew what Lyle did. Before he died, Lyle turned his soul into a life soul, meaning when he dies, his soul will lock onto a person and go into their eye. The life soul user picked, granting them their powers. That's what Lyle exactly did. After that day, I vowed to kill those people who did this to me and Lyle. Grandmaster was still in the hospital and had just woken up when I told him everything that happened. But he was not fond of the vow. But I said to him in a serious voice that I would fulfill that vow. And I ran away from the hospital and went to the house, got my stuff and ran. I ran as far as I could, crying while I'm running, still having Lyle in my head. But I knew, although I'm trying to fulfill my vow, deep in my heart, I know this would never bring Lyle back.
僕ら今ささやいて炎上するための